Philip to Evelyn, December 4th, 1943, back in camp. This is a continuation of the previous letter about his trip to London. Page 6. Here we go again, Chippy. Whee! Where was I? Oh, yes. I got into the line to have my physiognomy, face, mug, puss, or whatever you choose to call it, sketched. While waiting my turn, I watched Laz work and could only marvel at his talent. His speed and knack for getting a resemblance was almost uncanny. In a few minutes, it was my turn, and I sat to pose, debating with myself whether or not to remove my cap. By the time I had decided it might be best to remove it, I heard, "You've had it, chum," which was his way of saying he was through. I don't know what you think of the result, although I'm inclined to think you won't like it because it doesn't flatter me, as most pictures do. But I think it's very good, everything considered. You'll have to admit, after you're finished criticizing it, that it does look like me, no? I thought I might mail it as ordinary V-mail, but the censor said no. Please excuse the beat-up condition of the sketch, which I am sending in a separate envelope. But when you consider that I had to lug the thing all the way from London, we can't mail there, you'll appreciate the impossibility of keeping the sheet unsullied. To get on, all the time I was writing and posing, I was very much aware of a red-hot band playing somewhere close by. So as soon as Page 7, I had given the sketch to the gal behind the desk for safekeeping, I went into search of the cause or source of the music, which was Yankee swing without a doubt. Imagine my surprise and edification when I discovered a ballroom right there at the club, and to boot, there was a dance going on, and the place was jumping. What I mean. Can you tie that? I was never aware that the Hans Crescent had a ballroom. It is just off the dining room. As eager as I was to watch the dancing, I took time out for a snack of smoked salt kippers, I think, cheese, orangeade, or what passes for that around here, and cake. I was hungry as a bear, though, and it went down pretty good. Then I strolled into the dance to be met by the welcome blare of the very capable GI band. I didn't count them, but I think there were about 12 pieces, and solid senders all. The floor, while large as dance floors go, seemed cramped and small, so jammed was it with GIs and their gals. Then I did just what you might expect me to do under the circumstances. I picked out a chair that gave me a good view of the floor, parked myself in it, and ogled the jitterbugs. Lady, what us Yankees haven't taught the English lassies about jitterbugging is a sin and a shame. It was the village barn on a larger scale all over again. Well, Page 8, sweet. I was in my glory, as you can well imagine. That is, I was until the rhythm got me and I started missing my Chippy. To think how you had to coax me to dance. Baby, you wouldn't have had to coax me that night. I was fairly dancing on my seat. At 10:30 p.m., the band suddenly rose to play the national anthems, American and British, and the dance was over, damn it. Well, it was too late then for me to go any place that night, so I went to bed. Sound of snoring for about next 8 hours. I awoke at 6:30, looked at my wristwatch, turned over, and fell asleep again. Naturally. Next time I woke, it was 9:30. Then I had to get up, so I did, also naturally. I breakfasted on powdered eggs, oatmeal, and coffee, ditto, and rolls. I had every intention of making 2 shows before train time, 5 p.m., so I went directly to the Empire, where M. Rooney and Judy Garland and T. Dorsey and his band were appearing in a brand new picture, Girl Crazy. Judy was just as delectable as ever, and Mickey was, well, Rooney. His rendering of fascinating rhythm on the piano with the Dorsey band in support was a revelation. Isn't there anything that kid can't do? The show as a whole was very entertaining. After that, I dashed across the street to the Odeon, where Laurence Olivier gave a masterful and convincing performance as a young Russian engineer who comes to England to perfect, page 9, his invention. His bewilderment with the British and their customs makes for good comedy. Penelope Ward is a lovely English girl who falls in love with him with no trouble at all, until he botches up the proposal. I wouldn't spoil it for you by telling you all about it. I recommend you see Demi Paradise, if only for the excellence of Olivier's performance, although there is much to recommend in the film and story itself. That, my sweet, concluded the festivities for this time in London. Do you think I had a good time? I'm sure I did. The trip back to camp was uneventful. We were 4 Yanks and 4 Limeys in the compartment, and we amused each other most of the way, with the result that the trip wasn't tedious at all, even though we were 2 hours late getting in. Arrived in camp, I headed as usual for the orderly room and my mail. This time I was lucky. Your letter of the 3rd, can you beat that? And your V-mail of the 23rd awaited me. Today I received your V-mail of the 24th. Tomorrow I'll answer any questions you may have put into them. This morning I found that I had been switched back to my old job as personnel clerk. Why? I'm sure I don't know. Am I happy about it? I don't know yet. If there is enough work around this office to keep me from chewing my nails and twiddling my page 10 thumbs, then it will be an improvement right there. Right now I am alone in the day room, and since the fire has gone out, I'm shivering. And since I'm shivering, I'm sure you won't mind if I conclude this now and turn in. It is just 11:15 here. In Philly, it is 6:15, and if I'm not very much mistaken, you are eating or about to eat or just finished eating. Remarkable, isn't it? A fond good night for now, my darling. Give my love to my copycat. She must be so cute about now. A long, sweet good night kiss for you, baby. My love to all, from your adoring Phil. Philip to Evelyn, an additional letter, December 4th, 1943. My sweet, on looking over your past 3 letters, I find they are full of interesting little items, but contrary to my impression, no questions, except the one in regard to giving the windbreaker to Petey. I told you he was perfectly welcome to it in a letter of some 3 weeks ago. I'm surprised you hadn't received it. Now it devolves on me to compose this letter out of the whole cloth, as it were. A somewhat difficult task when one's mind is somewhat befogged by the general inertia that seems to grip everyone around here on Sundays. I spent most of this lazy Sunday straightening some of the files here in the orderly room, but it will be some days yet before they will be up to snuff. Tonight at the Base Theater they are showing Princess O'Rourke. I believe you said a while back that you saw it. That will take care of this evening. I'm mortified that neither Ed nor Richie has yet tried to contact me. I'm at a loss to understand it. I've done all I can from my end, having written to Richie and left word at the Hans Crescent for both of them. Sorry, and just a little disappointed that you couldn't use my ideas on your sweater. I wonder if you recognize the design. Remember one night in the Bronx we passed a yarn shop and a certain sweater caught your eye? The original was white and it was trimmed pretty much like my drawing specified. The effect was most attractive in an American Indian sort of way. I remember how much I wanted to see you in that particular sweater, and if I remember correctly, you priced it with an idea of buying it, but you just didn't see your way clear at the time. Remember? I know how tired you must be of knitting by now, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to see you in something of the kind, does it? Why don't you make a pair of them, one for you and a replica for Adele? That would really be something. If the cost of wool is any consideration at all, I'll gladly give up a pass to pay for it. How about it, honey? I think it would be worth all your time and trouble. If you're a little hazy as to the details of the design, I'm not. And if you say the word, I'll send you a detailed drawing. If you knew the extent of the pride I take in your handiwork, sweet, I think you would do it for me. I'll be waiting to hear the verdict. Delighted to hear that at last you are doing something definite about that Claire, C-L-A-R-E, Claire, C-L-A-I-R, Pruitt portrait. I'm waiting to hear about that too. That longer you've mentioned in the past 3 letters has me on pins and needles. I'm looking for it any day now. Darling, your letters are a constant source of comfort to me. Even when you say something that rubs me the wrong way, I don't mind it too much, because then I have no trouble at all filling up the pages. By the time I'm finished such a diatribe as the last one, I'm as empty of any resentment as any locomotive that has just finished blowing off steam. Hope you don't take these occasional outbursts too much to heart, baby. I'd kick myself all over the place if, after reading one of my more critical compositions, you felt that I was talking out of turn. Remember, my own Chippy, that my love for you is the only thing in my life that makes it worth the living. That and the fruit of it, our adorable Adele, is just about the extent of my universe. My love to all, your Phil.